On the Mediterranean Sea, Aeneas and his fellow Trojans flee from their home city of Troy, which has been destroyed by the Greeks. They sail for Italy, where Aeneas is destined to found Rome. When they are ready to sail,
"Has anyone seen my wife? Crucial's missing."
Son, we really need to go. We're running out of time. We can't do anything to find your wife.
"But father..."
Aeneas, we got to go.
they finally sail for Italy, and as they near their destination, a fierce storm is unleashed by Aeolus, the god of winds, which is called by Juno, the queen of the gods, because she really hates the Trojans.
"Everyone, drop yourselves up. I know and I believe that we can survive this storm. Oh, Venus, the goddess of love, help us get through this."
Venus, the mother of Aeneas and the goddess of love, also the rival of Juno, was watching and observing the Trojans.
Neptune, god of the seas, I'm begging. Can you please calm your waters? For my family and their warriors are sailing.
And then Neptune talked to Aeolus. He said that the winds and storm unleashed by Aeolus were already out of bound. The sea was finally calm. The Trojans, carried by the storm, found Carthage. Unfortunately, Anchises died before they got to Carthage.
"I lost my father, we lost many of our fellow Trojan warriors, and we only got 7 ships left. What I'm saying is, in this strange island, please take care of yourself. We need to survive. For have a mission and we will still have a long way to go."
As the Trojans were welcomed in the Carthage, they started to hunt foods for survival. Then in the woods, where Aeneas was hunting, Venus appears to him in disguise and relates how Dido came to be queen of Carthage, a powerful city founded by Dido and her fellow Phoenicians.
Aeneas, my son, I have something to tell you. Dido, the queen of Carthage, talk to her. She will welcome you.
Venus advises Aeneas to go into the city and talk to the queen, who will welcome him. Aeneas and his friend Achates approach Carthage, shrouded in a cloud that Venus conjures to prevent them from being seen. Their astonishment increases when they arrive in Dido's court to find many of their comrades who were lost and scattered in the storm, asking Dido for aid in the rebuilding their fleet.
"Oh, so you are the mighty and brave Aeneas. I'm so delighted and glad to meet you, the famous hero."
"Your Highness, thank you for accepting us here in your city. We're here to ask something. We need you and our fellow Trojans who were lost by a storm, and we need aid for some of the wounded warriors and our damaged ships. We are so grateful to be here."
We can talk about that later. Would you like to call all the Trojan leaders and dine with me at my place?
"Sure, Your Highness, we will come."
Venus worries that Juno will incite the Phoenicians against her son. She sends down another of her son, Cupid, the god of love, who takes the form of Aeneas' son, Ascanius. In this disguise, Cupid inflames the queen's heart with passion for Aeneas.
Aeneas, the mighty hero, could you please tell the whole story of your unfinished adventure?
If you say so, here's what happened.
Fulfilling Dido's request, Aeneas begins her sorrowful story, adding that the retelling it entails re-experiencing the pain. As he tells the story, Dido's eyes were glued on him as she starts to fall in love. As time passes by, Dido's love for Aeneas is way too deep. One day, when Dido her court and Aeneas are out of hunting, Juno brings a storm upon them, the group scrambling for shelter. Aeneas and Dido wind up in a cave by themselves. They make love in the cave. They live openly as lovers when they return to Carthage. Some rumors spread that Dido and Aeneas forgot about responsibilities because of the love between them. Then Jupiter sends down Mercury the messenger god.
Aeneas, this is not the thing that is destined for you, as the prophecy tells. You must live for Italy. Leave anything that will be destruction for you, and Dido is one of them.
I must obey the prophecy, but how? How am I going to tell this to Dido? I love her, but I have to follow the gods and the prophecy.
Aeneas tries to prepare his fleet to set sail in secret, but the queen suspects his ploy and confronts him. In a rage, she insults him and accuses him for stealing her honor.
Ines, why? Why are you doing this? Are you trying to steal my honor, my power? How dare you?
I love you, Dido. Some feelings are only meant to be felt, and some things are just not meant to be. I am sorry if I'm going to do this, but I must follow the prophecy, and I sail for Italy not of my own free will.
Aeneas leaves Carthage without hesitations, and the broken-hearted Dido reels between fierce love and bitter anger. Suddenly, she appears calm and instructs Anna to build a great fire in the courtyard. There, Dido says she can rid Aeneas from her mind by burning all the clothes and weapons he has left behind, and even the bed is left on. Anna obeys, not realizing that Dido is in fact planning her own death by making the fire her own funeral pyre.
I can't believe you, Ines. Why did you leave me? Why? Maybe I will get rid of you if I will get rid of these stupid things that reminds me of you. You never loved me, didn't you? I have loved you to the great extent that I can. Why did you leave me?
She throws herself upon the blade, and with her last words kisses her absent lover. As Anna and the servants run up to the dying queen, Juno takes pity on Dido and ends her suffering and her life. As the night falls, Dido's grief leaves her sleepless. Meanwhile, Juno's anger against the Trojans has not subsided. She dispatches Iris, her messenger, down to the Trojan women who were further along the beach from where the men enjoyed their sport. Then Iris steers them to riot. She distributes flaming torches among them, inciting them to burn the Trojan ships so that the men will be forced to build their new city here in Sicily. The Trojan men see the smoke and rush up, but they are failed stopping the fire. Aeneas prays to Jupiter to preserve the fleet, and immediately a rainstorm hits. The incident shakes Aeneas, and he ponders whether he should be satisfied with settling in peace on the Sicilian coast. His friend Nautis, a seer, offers better advice.
You should leave some Trojans, the old, the frail, the injured, and the women weary of sailing in the caravassests.
Aeneas considers this plan, and that night the ghost of his father appears to him, advising him to listen to Nautis.
Aeneas, my son, you must listen to Nautis to know the true meaning of your mission, and you are going to fight a difficult foe in Latium. But first, visit the other world so I could speak to you more.
Everyone, buckle yourselves up. For me, are we going to our destination, our real destination? But before that, I have decided that the wounded and old warriors will not join. You will all remain here for your own safety. This is it.
The Trojans' fleet sailed to Italy, and the ship falls the anchor to Cumae. Following his father's instructions, he went to a Sibyl and commands it to take him to the underworld.
Brides, can you take me to the underworld? I really need to talk to my father.
Yes, I can take you there. There's a sign that you are really destined to travel there. You need to find a golden branch as the token, and if this branch breaks easily from the tree, fate calls you to go there. And if not, I'm really sorry, but I will not take you there.
Aeneas immediately go to the forest to search for the said tree. He prayed to the gods and then two doves guide him. The golden branch broke off the tree easily. He returned to the Sibyl with the token and they go to the underworld. The Sibyl and Aeneas enter the cave leading to the underworld and approach the river at Charon, which dead souls must cross to enter.
These are the souls of dead people whose corpses have not received proper burial.
Charon, the ferryman of the dead, explains to the visitor that no living bodies may cross the river, but the Sibyl shows him the golden branch. Appeased, Charon ferries them across. After encountering both Trojans and Greek heroes, Aeneas and the Sibyl finally come to the blessed groves, where the good wander about in peace and comfort. At last, Aeneas sees his father.
My son, I just want to congratulate you on having made the difficult journey.
Anchises presses on to the reason for Aeneas' journey to the underworld, the explication of his lineage in Italy. Anchises describes what will become of the Trojan descendants. Aeneas grasped the profound significance of his long journey to Italy. Aeneas returns from the underworld, and the Trojans continue up the coast to the region of Latium. Sailing up the coast of Italy, the Trojans reach the mouth of the Tiber River, near the kingdom of Latium. The king Latinus has a single daughter, Lavinia. She is pursued by the many suitors, but that great warrior Turnus, a lord of nearby kingdom, appears most eligible for her hand. The arrival of the Trojans in Italy begins peacefully. King Latinus, the Italian ruler, extends his hospitality to Aeneas and his fleets. The Trojans pledge friendship to the king.
I will offer my daughter to marry Aeneas to fulfill the prophecy.
Juno, however, still has not exhausted her anger against the Trojans. She dispatches Alecto, one of the Furies, to Latium to rouse anger on the part of the natives against the Trojans.
Alecto, I want you to go to Latium. Infect Latinus' wife and Amata to be angry with the Trojans and to oppose the marriage of Lavinia and Aeneas. And I want you to inflame Turnus with indignation at the idea of losing Lavinia. They can get married.
Turnus assembles his army and prepares to drive the Trojans out of Italy. He amazes a great army, captained by the greatest warriors in Italy, and marches them to the war. That night, the river god Tiberinus speaks to him.
Aeneas, I suggest that seek help from King Evander. He is gladly offers aid against your common enemy.
Meanwhile, Venus freets over Aeneas' upcoming war. She speaks to her husband Vulcan, the god of fire and forging.
Please, help Aeneas. Make him a new weapons and armors that will give him an added advantage to win on the battle.
Vulcan commands his workers, Cyclops inside the great volcano, and Aethna to begin the forging items. The next morning, back in Arcadia, King Evander assigns what troops he can spare to Aeneas' command. The king dispatches Pallas, his own son, and requests that Aeneas teach Pallas the art of war and return him home in safety. At the camp that night, Venus suddenly appears to Aeneas and presents him with the arms that Vulcan has completed: the helmet, corselet, sword, spear, and the shield. While the Trojan leader is away, Turnus attacks. Aeneas returns to find his countrymen embroiled in battle. Pallas, the son of Aeneas' new ally Evander, is killed by Turnus. Aeneas flies into a violent fury, and many more are slain by the day's end. When Evander hears of his son's death, he is crushed, but because Pallas died honorably, he forgives Aeneas in his heart and wishes only for the death of Turnus. Eventually, Turnus is outnumbered and narrowly escapes by jumping into the Tiber and floating back out to his comrades.
Why do you keep making Aeneas and Trojans suffer?
I did not force him to go to Italy.
Stop! I'd rather not help any of you, so that the merits and efforts of men will decide their ends.
Meanwhile, the Latins continue their siege of the Trojan fortress, and Aeneas journeys back towards the battle. Juno worries about Turnus because she suspects that Aeneas outmatches him. Turnus hears cries of suffering from the city and rushes back to the rescue, not wanting his people to suffer further.
I am calling to end this. Come out, Aeneas, and fight with me hand to hand, as we agreed.
Jupiter sends down one of the Furies, who assumed the form of a bird and fluffs and shrieks in front of Turnus, filling him with terror and weakening him. Seeing Turnus waver, Aeneas casts his mighty spear and strikes Turnus' leg, and Turnus tumbles to the ground.
Don't kill me. I'm begging. Have a mercy on me for the sake of my father.
Aeneas is moved, but just as he decided to let Turnus live, he sees the belt of Pallas tied around Turnus' shoulder. As Aeneas remembers the slain youth, his rage returns in a surge. In the name of Pallas, Aeneas drives his sword into Turnus, killing him.